Go back to the kitchen. You ghetto trash." The voice rang out, shattering like glass on the floor, ripping through the sparkling ballroom atmosphere. Then splat! A chocolate cake hit me right in the face. I felt the heavy cream explode, splattering all over my hair and dripping down my navy dress. The dress I chose to wear to this gala was now ruined in front of 300 stunned guests. Phones were raised, cameras aimed at me like gun barrels. Gasps, forced laughter, and then a silence that sucked the air out of the room. I didn't cry. I didn't lower my eyes either. I stood still, letting the cream drip from my chin onto the shiny marble floor. Inside my chest, there was no shame, but something colder: calculation. Victoria Sterling, the one who just slapped me with that cake, thought she had crushed me. But in that very moment of humiliation, I knew for sure the balance of power had just shifted, and the whole world, through those live streaming phones, was about to witness it. Victoria laughed into the microphone, her voice sharp. "This is what happens when a stranger dares to intrude upon our world. Look at her, cheap dress, cake all over her face. Does she think she belongs here?" The room erupted in nervous laughter. Some laughed to flatter her, others turned away, but no one stood up for me. I raised my head, looking directly into the live stream camera that was zoomed in. And I spoke, my voice loud enough for the microphone to catch every word. "Ma'am, I believe there's a misunderstanding." Not a raised voice, no trembling, just cold, polite, and heavy enough to bring the room to silence. Victoria strode around me like a predator, certain its prey was dead. "Don't pretend to be innocent," she hissed into the mic. "Everyone saw you rummaging through confidential documents. This is the consequence when people like you try to push their way into a place where they don't belong. People like you." The phrase dropped into the air like a stone thrown into a still pond. I clearly heard a man near the bar exclaim, "Did she just say that?" A murmur arose, but all the phones were still pointed at me, recording every second. Marcus Carter, the hotel manager, stepped forward, his voice low. "Ma'am, perhaps we should handle this quietly." "No quiet at all." Victoria cut him off. "I want everyone to see this scammer. Look at her, cheap dress, fake watch. She's definitely a thief." Chocolate cream was still in my hair, dripping down my shoulder. I took a deep breath, smelling a mix of sweetness and bitterness. My fingers tightened on the leather folder as I bent down to pick up the scattered papers. But Victoria's high-heeled shoe came down, pressing hard on my fingers. "Don't touch," she growled, the microphone catching every word. "Let security handle those fake papers." A wave of commotion spread. I was in pain, but I didn't wince, just looked up and met her eyes. My gaze made the smug smile on her face freeze for a moment. "You believe I don't belong here," I said softly. "But perhaps you should verify before deciding who is worthy and who is not." I opened my purse, took out a business card, and handed it to Marcus Carter. He glanced at it, and his face immediately turned pale. "Dr. Maya Washington, Senior Vice President, Microsoft Azure." The murmurs turned into an explosion. I clearly heard the rushed whispers. "What did he say? Vice President of Microsoft? No way." Victoria snatched the card from Marcus's hand, letting out a screeching laugh. "The cheapest fake I've ever seen. A Microsoft leader? Looks like this?" Her screech echoed throughout the room. And I knew every phone was still recording. Every viewer on the live stream heard every word. I took out my own phone, even though the screen was cracked from her heel. The screen still worked. A few taps, and my information, my portrait, title, and authority, appeared in full on the giant screen in the ballroom. Hundreds of gasps filled the air. The crowd erupted in a wave of commotion. The live stream viewership shot up every second. Victoria's face briefly paled, but she still screamed, "It's a fake! She hired an actress! Look at her! She's still covered in cake!" Marcus said nothing more. He dialed a direct number to Microsoft headquarters. The call went through, and he put it on speakerphone. "Microsoft Center, Redmond. How may I direct your call?" His voice trembled. "Please connect me to Dr. Maya Washington's office." A click. Then a voice came on. "This is Jennifer, Dr. Washington's executive assistant." All eyes turned to me. I slowly wiped the cream from my cheek, my voice calm. "Jennifer, it's me, Maya Washington. I'm having a small incident involving dessert, right here at the Sterling Gala. I clearly heard her gasp over the speaker. Oh my God, we're watching the live stream. Are you okay? Should I call the police? The whole room went silent. While Jennifer's voice still echoed from the speaker, I saw Victoria's face harden, as if the lipstick on her lips cracked. Just then, Jonathan Sterling, the CEO of Sterling Industries, rushed into the room. His face was ashen. Victoria, he whispered, his eyes scanning the chaotic room. What have you done? She immediately turned, clinging to him like a drowning person grabbing a life buoy. Dad, she's lying. She doesn't belong here. I just handled it, with a little cake. I clearly heard the crowd laughing, this time not forced. A voice shouted from the back. No one's having fun when you smash a cake in someone's face. Jonathan's eyes fell on the big screen, where my verified information was clearly visible. I saw horror etched on every wrinkle of his face. Oh my God, Victoria. But she still didn't stop, screaming into the microphone. You're all blind. She doesn't belong here. Look at her. I stepped up, my voice ringing out clearly, overpowering the noise. Miss Sterling attacked me, called me ghetto trash, and humiliated me, live in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And she did that just minutes before I was about to sign a $4.2 billion deal to save Sterling Industries. The room exploded. Hundreds of phones were simultaneously pointed at me. I saw the live stream viewership jump, surpassing 200,000. Jonathan turned to me, his legs trembling, and then he knelt down right in front of me. Dr. Washington, I'm so sorry. I beg you, please don't punish 12,000 employees for my daughter's foolish act. I watched him kneel, while Victoria screamed, trying to pull him up. Dad, get up. Don't beg this cake-covered scammer. I placed the folder she had kicked earlier onto a table. I calmly opened it. Inside, the contract was intact, only slightly stained with cream. I held it up high for all the cameras to capture. This is the Microsoft Sterling Agreement. It could have secured your company's future, but the deadline has passed. And this contract is void from the moment your daughter threw that cake. A gasp echoed through the room. I heard reporters rushing forward, a torrent of conversations like a wave. The live stream viewership soared again. Jonathan held his head, his lips trembling. Please, we'll fire her. We'll do anything. Just give us one more chance. I looked him straight in the eyes, letting each word fall like a knife. No, Mr. Sterling. Your daughter didn't just insult me. She insulted everyone who has ever been told they don't belong. She exposed the true face of your corporation to the world, and the price to pay is $4.2 billion. Just then, the security team appeared, heading toward Victoria. Miss Sterling, the team leader said, his voice leaving no room for argument. We have multiple witnesses, 6 different camera angles. You assaulted a guest. You're under arrest. No, this is just a cake. Are you all crazy? Her screams echoed through the ballroom as handcuffs were locked on her wrists. I didn't flinch. I let every camera record every second. I let the whole world see the end of privilege being exposed on the spot. I stood still, letting the cameras capture the moment Victoria Sterling was escorted out, her hands still sticky with cream, her mouth screaming in vain. Applause, mixed with jeers, resonated throughout the ballroom. Tonight, everyone had witnessed the downfall of privilege. I turned to face the cameras one last time, my hair still matted with chocolate cream. I spoke slowly, clearly, word by word. Ladies and gentlemen, every action has a consequence, and tonight, you have seen it. The live stream viewership surged to over 250,000. The eyes of hundreds of people followed me, not as a humiliated person, but as someone who had just rewritten the rules in this very room. As the crowd thinned out, I walked alone through the empty hallway, the sound of my heels echoing on the cold marble floor. On my shoulders, the weight of tonight was still there, but deep inside was clarity. I didn't just defend my honor. I proved a much bigger truth, that respect cannot be bought, and arrogance cannot survive in the light of truth. I touched my hair, still sticky with sweet cream. But now, it was no longer a mark of humiliation. It was proof. Proof that cruelty can betray itself. That a single act of contempt is enough to bring down an entire empire. Watching Victoria being led away, I understood. True power is not in shouting over others, but in standing firm when silence would be the easy choice. I stopped by a large glass door, the city lights outside reflecting my silhouette. In the reflection, I no longer saw a cake-covered victim. I saw a leader, a person who turned an insult into a verdict. I pushed the door open and stepped out. Flashbulbs immediately went off, following my every step into the city night. And the lesson of tonight was etched in the sky like a warning. Truth always travels farther than privilege. That night, when the hotel door closed behind me, I didn't go home right away. I sat in the suite, still in the cake-covered dress, letting the cream dry on my hair. On the table, my phone vibrated constantly with notifications. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Tens of thousands of messages, tags, and the hashtag number, CakeGate, climbed to the global top. I read the lines that scrolled too fast to grasp fully. Thank you. I was also told I didn't belong. Maya Washington stood tall for all of us. Privilege couldn't save her from the truth. I couldn't deny the feeling swelling inside me. Pride, but also exhaustion. People saw a strong woman standing firm against humiliation. But they didn't see the little girl who was once chased out of a convenience store just because of her skin color. They didn't see the student who had to work 3 times as hard to get half the recognition. They didn't see the times I walked into a meeting room and was mistaken for an assistant when I was the project leader. When I looked in the mirror, I saw myself, both Dr. Washington and Maya from the poor neighborhood in Chicago, and I understood why I didn't cry in front of those 300 people. Because I had cried so much before. The next day's news was filled with headlines. Sterling Industries lost more than 30% of its stock value overnight. The board of directors held an emergency meeting. Jonathan Sterling tried to contact me at least 5 times in 24 hours. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened emails from strangers. A 16-year-old girl from Atlanta wrote, "I watched the live stream, and for the first time, I saw someone who looked like me standing in a place of power. I won't give up anymore." I leaned back in my chair, my eyes stinging. It turned out my humiliation last night had become a source of strength for others. That chocolate cake, the thing they intended to use to belittle me, had become a symbol. When I closed my laptop, I knew one thing for sure. True power wasn't in a $4.2 billion contract, nor was it in how the Sterling Corporation collapsed. It was in the people out there who needed to see that we can stand tall. And from that day on, I promised myself, whenever I walk into any room, I won't just walk for myself anymore. I will walk for everyone who has ever been told, "You don't belong here."